Muslims who are here to take over, to be the Khalifas of this land. We are sitting there doing nothing. And our identities are stripped away. We can't even be ourselves. Mohammed has now become Mo. Khadija has become DJ. Fatima has become Tima. We've lost the pride in our faith.
I loved my faith and I loved my religion and I thought my faith was unshakable. But all of that changed.
This is shocking, and unfortunately this is the reality about this God. He is a God of torture. He is a God, the deceit God. This is what he talks about himself.
I started making a list of all the experiences I missed out on because I was Muslim. I'm 25 and I've never listened to music. I've never been on a date. I've never tried alcohol. I don't know how to dance. I want to take my hijab off. It'll be the biggest decision I've made ever in my life so far, but I'm terrified. I don't know what the consequences could be.
Behind closed doors in this religion, there's just so much people don't know about. Domestic violence, honor killings, assault. I've been physically abused by my parents. They would force me into practicing the religion.
In the course of the last couple of years, I've been attending a number of MSAs and youth organizations, and some of the things that the Muslim youth approach me with have not only been shocking, but at the same time enlightening. So I wish to share some of those stories with you. So one of the more shocking things that I have experienced over the course of those years are the number of young boys and girls aged between 13 to 18 who have openly declared their apostasy to me. And I'm talking within the hundreds. Okay? However, at the same time, they have also declared to me that they are Hufad, they are Hafiz of the Quran. They are leading prayers in the masjid. They are engaged in madrasa, education, okay? And they are still leading that life, while simultaneously declaring their apostasy. Now, of course, they're not open about it, but they've shared it with me because of their concerns.
You are going to make millions upon millions of Muslims very, very angry.
I'm not trying to offend Muslims. I love them. Those Muslims are my family.
But you are going to offend people, and you are going to put your life in danger, aren't you, by doing this?
Some of them will be offended. Some of them will be offended. But I am sure, I believe that many of them will wake up.
Some of them will try to kill you.
They will. They will. If they will kill me, they will kill this body. But the question, what about my soul? What about my ideas? What about my beliefs that I shared with everybody? Will they be able to kill this? I don't think so.
These comments are coming from a man who is not just any Palestinian, but the son of Sheikh Hassan Youssef, one of the founders of Hamas. Mossab Hassan is also a young man who himself, until just a few years ago, was president of the Islamic Youth Movement. And his denunciations of Islam are harsh and startling.
Every Muslim who read the Quran, if they allow themselves to listen to this Quran and believe in the same time that this is from God, I think they are sick and they need help.
For many, many years, I was feeling that I was drowning in this religion. I couldn't understand how Islam was teaching me to hate myself. People try to advocate for the killings of us. They want to be a vigilante and come and get us. It's happening in our backyard here in Australia.
I live a 100% double life. I'm pretending to pray, I'm pretending to fast, I talk like a Muslim, I act like a Muslim. But then when I go out, I'm not like that at all. I feel so trapped. I'm terrified of someone finding out that I'm ex-Muslim. I feel like I'm carrying around a ticking time bomb.
Leaving any religion comes with consequences, but leaving Islam means leaving an entire community, a deeply ingrained culture and a way of life. And breaking those ties may be the hardest thing a believer could ever do.
They don't understand why they don't believe. They don't understand why they don't love Islam. They don't understand why they don't believe in God. And there are a number of concerns that they have that they feel have never been addressed. Then among that group are some, believe it or not, who have approached me confused about their sexual identity. Concerned that they're not normal because they're attracted to the same sex, or they think they are. Some have also approached me discussing issues of abuse among family members. Some have also approached me discussing issues of sexual abuse, molestation, harassment by their fellow brothers and sisters in faith. And you're probably wondering how I was able to come across all of these stories and why those individuals had confided in me. Well, it has a lot to do with my own past and my ability to connect with these kids, as I was not Muslim before. I reverted to Islam, alhamdulillah. And I'm able to open up to these kids, and I give them a safe space to discuss these issues. But the number of children, teens, and young adults who I've engaged with in the United States who declare themselves to be Muslim openly but are not so, or are confused and do not understand what it means to be Muslim is dramatic and alarming, to say the least. And the first question that comes to mind as to why or how so many of these concerns are brought up, so many of these doubts, the number one question that comes in my mind is, why are they talking to me? Why aren't they talking to their parents? Why aren't they talking to the imams? Their sheikh, the scholars? Why are they talking to me? I'm nobody. And then I ask them this question, because I say this, I say, I'm nobody. Okay? I have some knowledge, but I'm compared to these people, I'm nothing. Why are you talking to me? And the same answer, I get the same answer from every single one of them. They're scared to tell their parents. They're scared to tell the imam. They're scared to tell the sheikh. They're scared to tell their scholars. They're scared to be shamed.
My life is on the line for being an ex-Muslim. We're hiding our faces for security and safety reasons. We're not hiding it out of shame. We get a lot of hate and a lot of threats of being killed. It's mostly individuals and sometimes even Muslim leaders. They feel the right to speak out against us, and they feel the right to incite violence against ex-Muslims.
Let's call this guy Ahmed. He's a 23-year-old student.
I mean, like growing up in Saudi Arabia, I was happy. I grew up in a really strict family, and so I didn't really listen to music. I didn't really watch movies. If my family found out that I'm an ex-Muslim and that I was speaking out so publicly against Islam, I think my family would kill me.
Rushdie is 22. She escaped her family in Pakistan in 2015. In the past 2 decades, there's been at least 68 recorded killings related to apostasy in Pakistan alone. Like Ahmed, Rushdie has never spoken publicly about leaving Islam until today.
I realize that there are definite consequences, but I'm willing to take that risk. I face immense cultural and religious pressure from my family to be Muslim. They would force me into practicing the religion. My life experiences have been pretty dark, gruesome. I had attempted suicide 4 times.
I believe that Islam is collapsing already. Because
It's collapsing.
Yeah, it is collapsing. It looks from the outside, it's growing, but from the inside, it's completely collapsing. It's not giving answers to the people. It's not improving their lives. It's not helping them at all.
In studying the Quran, Moshab Hassan found what he calls thousands of inconsistencies.
If it's a war zone, if it's wartime, they're talking about jihad. They bring the verses that, so it's like very political religion. And this way, I discovered that the Islam is the most bipolar religion on earth, that you can find whatever you want.
So the Quran contradicts itself?
In so many ways.
Within days of us broadcasting that interview, it spread across the internet like wildfire. Days after that, Al-Qaeda itself stepped up in the absence of Hamas making any comment, criticized Hamas for allowing him to get away from the organization, and then concluded their internet statement by quoting the words of the Prophet Muhammad, chilling words. They said, "Whoever changes his religion, kill him." That being a reference to the fact that Moshab Hassan not only has left Hamas, but has now turned his back on Islam and converted to Christianity.
I love Jesus immediately.
Why?
Love your enemy. That was the one that moved me from like deep and changed my life forever. I've been suffering for a long time. It's like my medicine became. It's not a drug. It's not given. It's not like Quran. Quran is a drug.
The Quran is a drug, you say?
Islam is a drug. To be honest with you, being killed is not the worst thing can happen to me. But if my soul is dead, if I feel the responsibility and I don't say a word of truth, I will die every day. The biggest terrorist is the God of the Quran. I know this is very dangerous. And I know this is this will offend many people, but my goal not to offend them. What I'm saying, that the biggest terrorist is Allah of the Quran, the God of the Quran, the God of Islam.
They're scared no one will understand them. And they feel as though even when they give clues, the first reaction is either anger or isolation. And this is almost across the board. Of course, everyone has differing experiences. Not everyone is the same. But generally speaking, this is the same answers that I've received.
But I'm telling you, the problem is much bigger than Hamas. The problem is in the God of Islam. This is shocking, and unfortunately, this is the reality about this God. He is a God of torture. He is a God, the deceit God. This is what he talks about himself. Islam as a religion in general is a lie wrapped with some facts and truths, and I'm talking this with the authority of somebody who understands exactly what Islam is all about. And it's the biggest lie in history, in my opinion. And this is the biggest danger, that a quarter of population of Earth believe that this is a religion from God. They are wonderful people.
You know, here in Canada, our Muslim population is the same as any other religion. So, you know, those are very inflammatory words about. I know you've converted to Christianity, but that's pretty inflammatory.
Yeah. Yes. This is a good point, and what I'm trying to tell you here, that your problem, my problem, the world's problem is not with Muslims. And Muslims, the majority of Muslims are great and wonderful people. They are my people. I know their pain, I know their sufferings, and I know their hearts. When you go to the Middle East, when you go to any Muslim community, you see their passion, you see their hospitality, and you get confused, even more confused. You say sometimes, those Muslims are better than many Christians. And we are not in a position to compare people. We are comparing ideologies. And I'm telling you that the minimum Muslim, the most criminal Muslim or terrorist has a minimum of morality, responsibility, logics more than his God. If you read the Quran, if you allow yourself to understand what the Quran is all about, you're going to figure this out yourself. Go to the Quran, Surah 9, verse 5, and you will find what the God of Quran is asking Muslims to do against everybody. Now, it's not Muslims' fault that they were born in that culture. It's not their fault that they were born as Muslims. But what we're telling them, understand your religion before you are offended. Those are realities about their religion, and they need to recognize that.
The idea of someone finding out that I'm ex-Muslim is my greatest fear.
This is Urwa. She's 25 from a Pakistani background. Where Ahmed and Rushdie have already denounced their faith, Urwa is at a crossroads.
Taking my hijab off, it's an incredibly terrifying decision. I'm so afraid of everything that will come after I take it off. I want to do it, but a part of me wonders if I can really go through with it.
Ahmad, Rushdie and Urwa are all part of the underground network of ex-Muslims. Like me, you're probably wondering, if someone stops believing in a religion, why can't they simply just walk away?
It's much more common than people think, and the repercussions are obvious all around the world. Like, I mean, I'll take Bangladesh for instance, and many who've been attacked over the last few years because they have professed their non-belief. And you think about Saudi Arabia, where they've declared it a terrorist act to say that you're an apostate.
A brutal murder, hacked to death.
The 6th writer killed in the last 14 months.
From Islam to any other religion, the punishment should be death.
The hellfire is waiting for anyone who is rejecting Allah and His Messenger. Moreover, their families, they should not continue having any kind of relationship with them.
Is written into the Quran about how to treat people who used to believe and now say they no longer do. People get persecuted for that. They're scared for their lives.
There are 13 Muslim-majority nations across the world where apostasy or leaving Islam is punishable by death. Many of the families from these countries now living in Australia raise their children under strict religious rules. Although protected by law and democracy here, the consequences for ex-Muslims can be just as grave.
I was born and raised here in Australia. I found a lot of comfort from religion. I prayed 5 times a day. I would fast in Ramadan. I would read the Quran. I really wanted to be the perfect Muslim, but all of that changed. I had conversations with my friends and I realized that there were aspects of Islam that I didn't agree with. After a year of heavy doubt, heavy soul searching, it was like a switch just flipped and I realized my belief had gone. There are aspects of Islam that I do find beautiful, that do have intrinsic value, but I just don't believe that it is divine anymore.
Now, after wearing the hijab for most of her life, Urwa is taking it off.
I feel so many different emotions now that I've taken the hijab off. I still live at home with my Muslim family. They think that I've taken off the hijab because I was sick of Islamophobia on the streets. I was sick of the judgment. I'm terrified of the reactions of people in my Muslim community. I think the best case scenario is getting disowned. It might sound like I'm being a bit dramatic, but I wouldn't be surprised if the worst case scenario is getting murdered.
Are existing everywhere. Despite you trying to suppress our voices, we're not afraid.
I think to live in a country where I can say everything in public without people trying to kill me.
Just because we're silent doesn't mean we don't exist, and people need to remember that.
No human being should live in fear. Everyone has a right to peace, everyone has a right to safety, and everyone has a right to justice. And if that's not happening, then myself as a Muslim, I have to take some responsibility, even if it's just in my heart, even if it's just by making prayers, that these people's difficult situations are alleviated.
This needs to be normalised. Leaving religion, leaving Islam is a thing that happens all the time. It happens in private and it needs to be out there, it needs to be spoken about. I've experienced a tremendous amount of growth as a result of leaving Islam. I went on my first date this year in my entire life. I wore a t-shirt in public, and I remember thinking, I've never felt the wind on my skin before. Dancing and music is new to me at 25. This is the first time in my life that I'm really thoroughly appreciating life. If my story can even help one person who's questioning or doubting their religion, then I feel like the risk that I've taken is worth it. I'm just so looking forward to the future.
Your father is the leader of Hamas in the West Bank. Didn't you feel that you are betraying your family, betraying his confidence, betraying the idea he dedicated his life to?
How did I betray him? By saving his life, for example? I'm not doing him a favor. This is my dad. I know I rather to die and he doesn't get hurt. I look like a traitor because I am doing what my people need, not what my people want.
It's very obvious that they're going to try and kill you till the rest of your days, and still here you are in Israeli television without disguise, without fear, and I ask myself whether this is courage or total craziness.
Look, you are afraid when you do something wrong. When you don't do something wrong, when you believe in what you're doing, you're not afraid.
Masoud Youssef, in behalf of myself and many Israelis, thank you very much, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
Mossab is well aware that by speaking out, he could effectively be signing his own death warrant. But he shows no fear.
They gotta kill my ideas first, which is like, that's it. They're already out. So how are they gonna kill my idea? How are they gonna kill my opinions that I have? This thing that they can't do, they can't kill my body, but they can't kill my soul.